Greetings everyone, hello and welcome back. Once again, we continue right away with something that prepared at the end of the last episode, and that is this district here is ready for upgrading. And I would like to go ahead and do this ASAP because it gives me juicy influence. And by the way, we cannot really upgrade that much because we don't have that many materials. Shame on me. That's though, of course, lovely already. And yeah, every investor residence we can also then upgrade to skyscrapers, so the more we have the merrier. And wait a second, there's my power plant. Yeah, we can really go crazy here. Funnily enough, we don't have the timber. I've toned down my timber production a bit, so we are only making 31 tons per minute right now, which is, it sounds like a lot, but it's really not for timber. We got the whole industry set up over here right now in my future palace grounds, I think. And let's go ahead, also check out my logs there real quick, because the logs we consume for a lot of other industries right now, but we're also importing, of course. So we got 800 tons of a difference here per trading cycle. I think we actually need to tackle this one too. 800 tons, that is something that seems too high. Yeah, we're only having 770 tons. So let's push this to 1,000 tons, right? To also have a bit of a buffer here. Horses, we have plenty, so it doesn't really matter. And by the way, now that I see, we are also full on bread, which is not good because bread produces my chocolate. So we're all using it for coal. We're using it for hops. It's still, there's still room for it though. This one here we don't need anymore, by the way, so we can get rid of that. And we don't have enough sewing machines despite having a good surplus production. Let's use the bread here. The ratio is then only 1:6, but that should still be fine to get me in as many potatoes as possible. And don't forget, if we're running out of bread, it's not really a big deal. We're producing such a high amount of it that we can always produce more if we want to. All right, that's that. We could actually import timber directly. It's the only construction material I know of that you can directly import, right? Timber. The processed timber, in fact. We have a lot of sausage. We also have a lot of these coins that we're producing. 1:6, that's fine. Let's go ahead and get me some 2,000 timbers with the next trade. It's gonna work out just fine. With all of this, I'll continue with some more decorations. So that's the elm trees for these smaller alleys that we have there, also here in between. And then I would like to start with my first monument for Sleepy Hollow, so to fill in those blank spots finally. And that is, as always, the Town Hall monument that I'm going to have here. And with that, we have a bit of space around it to for example, have a harvest market or a Christmas market, the decorations that fit to a town hall. And then we have room here and here for more monuments down the road. And then, of course, the Grand Central Park. Let's start with this one, though. It's going to take me quite some time anyway already. Let's have the warehouse here and build the foundation itself. This is going to take some time once again. Let's just have a look at the first phase, or the second phase, actually, because the foundation was the first phase. A timber and cement plus artisan workforce to get this started. Gonna take some time now from here. Next, we have now the timber from Tobias. So I would like to push now the upgrades, and look at that. That's 110 influence coming in. More. And then we're out of steel beams again. That's a shame, but that was already quite a nice expansion there again. Let's also just make sure that this looks proper. Walking the streets of Sleepy Hollow, it gets more dense. There's even some airships. That's not my company though. That's Miss Hunt's company. Just passing by. And yeah, you can just gladly take one of my bicycles. The people don't mind. They love us. And then just take a ride through that beautiful town of ours that we have there. We make a quick jump to Manola, because Manola has a couple of issues and a couple of things that we need to progress. The first one is the dam project has finished the phase 2. There you go. Looking proper now. the final phase is upon us. And the final phase needs 150 tons of windows and 150 tons of concrete. We do not have that. We can already start with that. Oh, by the way, 1,500 obreros is a lot. Don't remember it being that much. We do not have a proper trade route here, so I will also need to send some building materials over. And of course my ship. By the time it arrives, we should actually need the material then, because of course we still have a bunch of reinforced concrete available. So the construction of the dam has started and continues now until completion. Yeah, we do need more workforce though, especially more Brero workforce. And as we can see, we can upgrade a lot in Manola. I would like to focus on the inner area again. These guys here. We also got some ruins there. There you go. And then, let's upgrade this one here first, before I'm diving deeper into the jungle. There you go. On our way to the... What the hell happened with my Hacienda? Outrageous. The whole thing burned down. Do I not have a fire station close by? We do. Strange that it actually burned down to the ground. Let's actually add some more so that it doesn't happen again. Must have been a very aggressive fire. And with that, we got the Obrero workforce now that we need. While we're here, we can also continue pushing our cigar industry. That is then also with a bunch more of my tobacco plantations. Costs me the Obrero again, but it's going to be worth it. Also, we have the trade union that we can absolutely afford now, if we had the right items, and we do. So I would also like to go ahead with the trade union here. The 20 influence we can afford to get me another Ferraz going now for this whole area. And we also have Salvador, and this one here affects the cigar factories by another 100%. Holy cow, that's massive really, right? So got the nice production here now rolling. I probably will actually move some of my marketeers over here, so that at least... Wait a second, this one's too close anyway. I do not want to waste too much space there. So let's go ahead with this and upgrade them rather than building more. That's just too juicy, right? Those bonuses that we're getting out of that. And we can also push more to artistas, which we should be doing because we still have a bunch of things to unlock. Let's go ahead and have this row here finished. Right, and then also up here. And then probably also these guys here. Okay, and this gives me, once again, the need to upgrade more to Obreros. These guys here, what do you miss? The market doesn't reach that far. It's gonna have me a market over there. Should make sure that we can now upgrade. There you go. With that, we finally also unlock the Grand Stadium for Manola. And... oh, it's tiny. Look at that. I was not expecting it to cost this little space. I had more in mind. Doesn't matter. Gives me a bit of room to add ornaments around that. Once we are able to finish it. This one needs also a lot of reinforced concrete, so we will need to send more of that over here, of course, soon. Also, what we should really have for that is a ball production, right? Without that, soccer doesn't make much sense. And that's exactly what we can do here in Manola. It's the Nandu that we need. So this is just an animal farm, really. We do have a ball production for this necessary anyway, because the demand is at 4 tons, all right? So that would be 2 tons for each, but soon we'll be able to improve them with electricity. So I think we should be fine with 2. Let's make 3 at the max forever, right? So it will never be more than 3. Pretty sure of that. Let's have the 3 here. The only thing we now need then is the Kautschuk and the Nandu. So the Nandu, we can also add. So this is something that should be... no warehouse in range. It's this one here. There is a road actually. Doesn't need that much space, so where should we add it? I really would like to have it here somewhere. Let's test this one. How many fields do we need for one of them? 4! Oh, okay. 4 of the big square ones. It's not gonna work out. We need another area for this. Yeah, probably some over here where we can add them. So that's the 4, right? It's rather massive. Got this one. And here. And then we have another one on that side. Especially with its very strange shape. It's not something you can easily do. Let's build them right away. This one. There you go. And then let's build me my ball manufacturing over there. Also working now. Caoutchouc is the only thing. And caoutchouc is something that we don't have as a fertility, but we can add the Hacienda farm to that to use the fertility nonetheless. And I'm not gonna bother with a silo or so, because we are not gonna need that many of them. It's really just for the ball manufacturing. I'm not intending to, yeah, for example, have my bicycles with that or so, right? So this is now 2 tons. We need one more right here, and then we already fulfill the demand for my ball production. For those of you who are curious, they're the Nandu. Getting ready to be slaughtered for our Grand Soccer opening. Immediately we head back to Sleepy Hollow because the upgrading frenzy continues over here. And with a bit more of my steel that I have left over now, I would like to continue pushing more of my beautiful juicy cannons. So let's get rid of these here and just add me, it's this one there, right? 1, 2, 3. This one, as many as possible, really. Oh, very nice. This will be super hard to breach. I'm glad that Miss Hunt gave me all the time I needed for this. I guess she's still busy with Carl. Are they still at war with each other? Yes, they are. Save for a few hiccups here and there, the coffee's already coming in bigger quantity now. Yeah, my investors are perfectly content, and the road to skyscrapers would be open at some point. We need, however, one more thing that we haven't started yet, and that's the elevator production. That's the next construction material that we need. There's not even that much room up here anymore for it. But we still need it for skyscrapers. And this one here needs steel, wood marquetry, and also steam motors. And yeah, quite expensive. For this, I'm gonna prepare another motor assembly line right away over here. And now we have the assembly line, and this one produces 4 tons of elevators each minute. So 2 of them should be fine for a very long time. They require electricity. So yeah, I've decided, of course, that this is continuing to be one of my industry zones. And with that, I just need to have them where some juice is flowing. Where's the juice flowing, by the way? There is my... No, that's a fishery. Where's my power plant? We need to build one. Because I did not have a power plant here. There it is. And then we can add my assembly line now here, just along the tracks. 1 and 2. Some over there. And a warehouse that will also then satisfy this area here. There's also another one. Those 2 should be fine for a long time. Now I just need to wait once again for steel beams. There you go. Production is now in full swing. However, of course, this will increase my consumption rates quite a bit. For steel, we're capped anyway, but the wood veneers I need in higher quantity. So that's also something that we have here. I haven't even touched wood veneer yet because the gramophones that would have needed it previously were produced passively so far, right? So it's just the marquetry workshop now. Can be improved with electricity, so you know what? It might actually make sense to also have it here. And this one produces 1 per minute, so it's now 2 per minute if we push them with the marquetry. And that's 4, and that's 8, right? And I might also consider adding a trade union then here for also boosting my assembly lines. That's gonna be important here. I would also like to continue now with creating some new ships that we haven't seen before. So the bulk freighter is available to us, and I would like to queue one in. In fact, I would probably like to queue it to the front. It doesn't have more cargo slot than a cargo ship, but according to the description, it is great for transporting enormous quantities of goods. So we only have 3 cargo slots, that's half of it, but perhaps we got a huge quantity for each one of these slots that makes up for it. So this would be great for my dedicated coffee and cigar transportations that we have up and running right now. Now, next in line, we need to do something about my steam motors, because with the elevator production, we're dwindling on these steam motors now by -4 per minute. We have them here, they're producing, not quite half of it yet, so let's build the next trade union, since we have the influence, and get me another Faraz Al Sarami in. In this case here, this also pushes my filament factories, which we need, because filament is also something we're running out of constantly. How did Faraz change this one now? Not that much, unfortunately, only to -3 now. So I will still need to get me another one in. And we have this area up here where we have the brick factories, and honestly the brick factories are a bit out of place there, I think. So I'm gonna move them now up here on my plateau, or we also have this area here available. And look at that, we got these tiny slots available there where a brick factory just is able to be squeezed in. So let's do this right like that. And with that, we can probably, we could even go for 2 more. I think this would be the right move here, going with 2 more. Not that all of them are affected, not quite. And Harlow again. Seriously, these surprise attacks are getting on my nerves, honestly. Not that they really have anything to do ever, because they're too weak for anything, the pirates, against my defenses, right? But with their fleet, of course, they can still do a lot of damage. How's my military score looking, by the way? Yeah, it's going up in the world. Misanda actually enjoyed it that we went to peace with the pirate, and then we lost it all again. Also, giving her money doesn't help out. Okay, we have now equality with the steam motors, which actually is a huge achievement, by the way, because we produce so many elevators. We're probably not going to produce so many elevators all the time, by the way, because it's really expensive to keep this up. But for now, it should be fine. We do have 2 warehouses here. Nah, I don't think we can squeeze in anything else here. So that's that. As always, let's have some more upgrades, as long as we have some steel beams. These whole blocks here. It's a lot of additional influence coming in again. My investors are not particularly happy right now. So this is something that we might need to tackle soon. Otherwise, we're going to see investor residences up in flames. Let's also have these guys here being pushed. This is definitely now not enough anymore. So this district here is outside of my electric range, which is okay, you know, because you don't need to have every building electrified early on. And since we have so much timber, I would also like to continue upgrading my farmers. We do have a lot of them, but they're not particularly happy right now. We're still having the problem with the workload. This is hard for me to understand. In fact, we have not enough workload production. I thought it was just a wool shortage, but in fact, we really do lack the buildings themselves. Let's push a few more here. And this was just a temporary thing though, working with framework knitters. This is hard for me to understand right now. We don't have that many farmers and workers. Why do we consume so many framework knitters? Do we not have the propaganda running right now? We should. Nile looks good actually. Doesn't seem to be anything pushed too far. Super strange that we have such a high workload consumption. I would really love to upgrade all of them here now to the next level. Let's head back to the Docklands, because there's another issue here coming up now, and that's the volume that we're trading is simply too high for us to handle it. Look at that. Captain Tobias is trading for over 10 minutes at this point, because he's having to move around thousands of tons of goods. So first of all, we don't need to import the timber anymore. This is a lot of tons, right, that we don't need to move. We got the potatoes, we got the wool in. This is all great. And we got the logs. Perfect. But I do need more loading wharfs. There we have one. I wonder if it affects my current trade already. No, it does not. Okay, so this still keeps going now. Down 8 minutes is way too much, by the way. So that's a third of the whole trading cycle is now added just with trading. We definitely will need to increase the loading speed there. We could build 3 more to maximize it. I would also like to add a harbor master office. We haven't done this yet. And we also have the capability of adding them piers to this area once a bit more trading kicks up. But I think for now we're good on that. Let's have 2 more loading wharfs here. And the 3rd one here. And then we continue with this branch into this area and then into this area at some point. Once we can afford it. Okay, another monster gun. I don't need that. Loading wharf. And with this we have now 400% on the loading speed bonus. I'm heading back because, ladies and gents, something big is happening in Manola, and that is the completion of our dam project. The water rises. Please don't further. There you go. And with that we have a dam. A hydroelectric power dam. It's producing now power. Quite a bit of it. And it satisfies now the whole island with power. And as we can see, everybody, every industry basically gets the power now. Also all the way over here, the cigar factories have the power. The marquetry workshops have the power. Everybody on the island has power. As beautiful as it is to look at, it definitely also poses a threat, and that is my economy. So, of course, all of it is doubled now. Also my coffee, right? We're pushing coffee now to 66 tons. Let's just see. Is that a surplus? It should be. It's not that much of a surplus, to be honest, right? Since we do need a huge amount of coffee at this point in Sleepy Hollow. But of course, it also pushes my consumption, because the industry, the industrial buildings, they're powered now, but farms are not powered. Farms do not magically produce more just because they have electricity, even though it would make sense to some extent, because you can use, I don't know, irrigation electrified. Doesn't matter how much poo we are actually also spreading on the coffee. There's simply not more that we can do, right? Pushing this by another 50. We already have a pretty unhappy population, so I'm not gonna do this. One more thing I can do, since we have the influence, I can push another trade union here with another Faras al-Sarami. Because this guy's just working for everything. And that's the cool thing about him. Let's also upgrade the warehouse here 2 times. And here. Another thing that's really cool is the arborists affects the coffee plantations productivity 15% increase, and they produce tobacco extra, which is really great. Also, the number of modules required is reduced by 10%. With that, we have pushed our coffee production by quite a bit now, right? So that's already 65% increase in productivity just with 2 items. Now, we could also push this one, of course, by another, let's make it another 25% as a middle ground for now, so that we keep the unhappiness penalty tier not so high. By the way, we can get rid of some of the other boosting that we're doing here, right? So the tobacco, we have the corn going, the fertilizer works, we don't need to push anymore. Even though they do not have electricity, the fertilizers, we still have a nice production of dung and fertilizers. Also, my cotton is just basically full, so I also don't need to boost that. And with that, we're already making up again to have a happy Honolero population. Someone's not that happy, and that's my New World soldiers over here in the camp. So first of all, I would like to finish them all to have this camp look a bit proper. We already have the canteen there. Is there anything else we can do for them? They do need, happiness-wise, a boxing arena that we are not providing right now. And for services, they don't need any other building. But the boxing arena I can provide quite easily so. And with that, we should, there you go, have a happy soldier population again. Leaves me now with the obrarios, and the obrarios actually have something, and that's the school. I think this is a mod. I'm not entirely sure yet, because I've been playing with the mods for so long that I'm not entirely sure that the obrarios have school in the vanilla version of the game. But they have the school demand, and this gives them 7 happiness if we fulfill it. So I'm going to go ahead and have me a school in this district here for these guys. And then also for these obrarios here in that area. And I'm just going to get rid of those Honoleros here. Actually, we do need Honoleros, but yeah. And with that, we have a content population again and very happy operators. Now, regarding my tobacco production, it's great that we have now more. We need more, right? So let's go ahead and push more of my farms. That's a lot of jornaleros though again. All of them get the silos once again. There you go. We're already boosting it with items, so that's not something I can improve. The marketry has been boosted. Let's check the marketry out. It's not enough though, so we'll still need to push more. I haven't found the item yet that actually gets rid of the marketry, right? And just needs wood then for the cigar factory. That's going to be pretty massive as well, once we have that. Speaking of the devil, there she is, Lucia. Didn't expect her to see now in the next reroll. Cigar factory productivity boost 40%. Instead of wood veneers, we could process timber. You might even say it's my luckiest day ever, right? Well, of course. Let's not get ahead of ourselves there. Let's have Lucia now activated for the tobacco plenty, for the cigar factories. There she is, and now we have the timber. On top of that, of course, we got the 40% improvement now on that. So as far as I'm concerned, I don't need market trees anymore, or wood veneers. So let's get rid of all of them. Save me lots of workforce, lots of space, lots of money. Of course, that is not the primary factor here. But of course, what we have with that is now a bit of a timber consumption, right? And since we need so much timber for, you know, basically everything, we will need to have a nice surplus there too. The lumberjack huts don't keep up with that. The problem is, what I can see as well is, of course, workforce. So this is something we should work on right away as well. So let's have a bit of a city expansion of Manola in this district here. So we still have a bit of room here for a bunch more. These guys, yeah, let's keep a bit of a distance here around the hospital. And then we're already moving into my... let's make it like so. Move this a bit further. 86 is fine to me. I have the road here, so we don't need the roads here. It's just crazy how many things you can always optimize after finishing the basics. Let's have a few more blocks here and have the roads here. The main road basically ends here with the hospital. We could make this one into a complete triple road. I'm not entirely sure what I would like to add here. Could be a botanical garden or something. And then we have also this area here that I will continue developing. That moves then into my industrial harbor that we are at some point going to have here, once I can protect this area properly. For now, I mean, now that I think about it, 80 advanced weapons, I think... First of all, yeah, we could build the next monster gun. How much is the armor piercer? Oh, we could also build the armor piercer here already. That would be something I can consider. Let's get one of my cargo ships to Sleepy Hollow back and get lots of building materials here over for the armor piercer. Because with that, we could then start fortifying this area here and make a proper industrial harbor out of this. Just where we have the coffee roasters. Now, I would normally continue though with a bunch more blocks here. Let's actually have a bit of a better looking block like this. And these blocks here, I could also think about over here. There you go. And then I might work on something like this. With its own little entrance here. And then we could also just work with something that has some ornaments in the middle then around them, right? So just to get some variety in here. There's not that much variety I would like to add here, because we still need the workforce after all. And this one looks like a very good chapel area. If we need that. Of course we need it. Something like that. Just with the little cliffs behind it. And then some more higher density blocks here. As we're moving into the industry zone now, I'm probably gonna stop here somewhere now, because we will need more area as well for industrial buildings then somehow. And here I can definitely add a bit more. Yeah, that's okay. Another plague over there. We cannot mobilize. We can upgrade the hospital to the advanced version. Let's do this. It's a bigger version of the New World Hospital. Looks quite representative. That one. And yeah, hopefully gets more doctors out. With the workflows flooding in, we do have a bit more lumber available again, though it's still not enough. So another thing I'm considering is just pushing them by 50%, because for the lumberjack huts, it doesn't affect them too much, right? And that's 50% more logs now. Yeah, 15 tons in surplus. That's great. And with that, we can add now a few more sawmills. By the way, the sawmills are electrified. So each one of them produces now 9 timber per minute. Quite a bit. Still, with all of that, we're barely breaking even here. I think... No, the warehouses also look fine. We just need a bunch more. Because we do want to, of course, have a steady supply. Now that my cigars consume so much. With all of that, let's quickly head back now to Sleepy Hollow, where my bulk freighter has been finished. It's this here. It's a beauty. Definitely a distinct asset. Not just a rehash or something. Now, I'm not disappointed. 200 tons. That's 4 times more items we can squeeze into one of them than the normal cargo ship. And with that, we can transport 600 tons of cargo in one direction. That is pretty nice. We just need now the white flag that I would like to equip on this. There you go. And now we can assign this one to my trade route. And yeah, to my cigar trade route, I would like to push my first one, because we really do need a lot of volume. And I would also like to build me a couple more for my coffee trade routes then, where we will also need them. 2 more. That should do a nice job already. And before Tobias arrives, let's also finish the remaining loading wharves that we have. With that, we build now all of them, 15, and push the loading speed by 550%. Also, we get a bit of attractiveness out there as long as the modules are connected with each other. By the way, what I've just noticed is that we actually need to build them. If they're blueprinted, they're not... They already count towards that, right? But they're not counting towards my bonus, of course. A little mistake on my part. I would really like to finish all of them. There you go. To a whopping 750% now that we have in loading speed. So far so good. I think this was a very successful episode. We got the elevators rolling. Now we would be theoretically ready for some skyscrapers. I would also like to start developing more this area now. And then we can also continue with our central monuments. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned.